Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
Hamnet.
Hey y'all, hey, welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Hello, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura, and we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movie, sports, concerts, and even Shakespeare biopics. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching Hamnet.
Yes, Chloe Zhao's newest film starring Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley.
Oh snap. And before we get into it, please make sure you're giving Sisters Who Watch 5 stars. 5 stars wherever you listen. Rate, download, subscribe, and follow us on social media at Sisters Who Watch. We really appreciate your support. Okay, Shelby, before we get into our review, can you give us some background on Hamnet?
Yes, so here's the logline as always. A powerful story of love and loss that inspired the creation of Shakespeare's timeless masterpiece, Hamlet, which is inspired by a novel by Maggie O'Farrell called Hamnet. And despite popular belief, Hamnet is not a real story. It's like a interpretation of Shakespeare's life, basically inspired by true events. And so after seeing this, we both thought it was like real. Like, oh my gosh, whoa, can't believe this inspired Hamlet. But the author is hypothesizing that it did. Mm-hmm. And so we'll get into it, but really interesting and creative, I'd say. It's written and directed by Chloe Zhao, who won an Oscar for Nomadland. She also directed Eternals. Did you see that, Laura?
No, it didn't. That was a Marvel movie.
Yeah, right? It was kind of panned universally. She also directed The Rider, which is a movie at Cannes. My first time I was at Cannes when I was in college. And I actually remember like when I was interning, I got to meet one of the stars of that movie because they were doing a photo shoot. But long story short, Chloe Zhao's been around for a minute and Oscar-winning director. And so people were very excited for a follow-up to Nomadland. So 5 years later, having Hamnet. It was made by Focus Features, which is a part of NBC Universal. And it stars Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. Have you seen Jessie Buckley in anything before?
So you said I have because I saw The Lost Daughter. However, I don't remember seeing her. Like in the movie, I was like, "Who is this lady? I've never seen her before." So no, I don't particularly remember her in The Lost Daughter. But have you seen her in other movies?
She's been in a lot of kind of indie dramas. Like I'm thinking of Ending Things and Women Talking. Her big role was like Wild Rose. I haven't seen any of those, but I've heard of her. Like, because I remember when Wild Rose came out, we were like, oh my gosh, wow, Jessie Buckley's so good. Like, so I've heard of her, but the only thing I have also seen her in is The Lost Daughter. She played like the young version of Olivia Colman's character. So it was like flashbacks. So maybe that's why you don't remember. Okay. Well, that's fine. And it also has Paul Mescal, you know, our guy from Gladiator 2.
Oh my gosh, he's everywhere.
Yeah, he's been in a lot. And then also Taylor Swift's ex, Joe Alwyn, was in it.
Which I also feel like he's popping up everywhere too.
Yeah, he's kind of having a moment.
In a lot of stuff.
Yes, but no, I thought we'll get into it, but the acting was really great. Yeah, I will say, like, everyone brought their A game. Like, it was really well acted. But coming in, what were your expectations for Hamnet?
I didn't have many expectations. I think they were high because you had told me, oh, this won the audience award at TIFF. Like, everyone said this is an Oscar frontrunner. And also, talking to my friends in San Francisco who are really into movies, they're like, oh, yeah, like, I've been hearing about Hamnet. Like, it feels like a lot of movie people are talking about this movie. So my expectations were high because there's a lot of buzz. People are very excited. Paul Mescal's in it and he's in everything. Please. So yeah, my expectations were very high. I didn't know much about it. I knew it was about Shakespeare. So what were your expectations coming in?
Like I mentioned to you, right, I heard this won the audience award at the Toronto International Film Festival. I look at Oscar predictions, and this has been predicted a lot to win things and just be nominated for a lot. So I was like, okay, like clearly this is an awards movie people are talking about. I didn't know much about the story, but I was curious, you know, just based on the buzz. Like, when something has a lot of buzz, like a Nora did last year, you're like, okay, I'm curious. I need to see this movie. Like, is it worth the hype kind of thing? So I was curious. I don't know if I was like super pumped. I was more like, okay, what is this movie about? Is the hype warranted?
Yeah, I agree. I was expecting a lot, but I was also skeptical. I'm like, it's a period piece. It's about Shakespeare. Like, I wasn't particularly excited about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so the movie starts. We see, right, the two, Shakespeare and his future wife, meet in the woods. They're both kind of kooky individuals.
And her name's Agnes, but they're pronouncing like Agnus. How are they pronouncing her name?
Yes. They were saying like Angus.
I like don't know how they were pronouncing it. I like the whole time I was like, what is this woman's name?
I also didn't understand.
And then I was like, wait, isn't his wife Anne Hathaway? And then I looked it up, but I guess she had multiple names. So
I did not understand.
I was like, oh, so this at the end, I was like, oh, so this is Anne Hathaway. It's just like she was going by Agnes or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. It was very hard to understand what her name was.
Yeah. So William was working for her family
as a Latin tutor to pay off his father's debt.
Yes.
So clearly coming from a troubled family.
Yes. They're both the outcasts. Yes. The families didn't like them.
And William Shakespeare was a tortured artist that wasn't really making money like they wanted him to. And Anne was a woman of the forest.
Everyone thought she was a witch.
Which, yeah, basically a witch. It's funny because I've been watching Outlander, and they similarly, it's like a period piece, and they similarly call women witches who, like, they don't understand. And I'm like, women for all of time, they just put a label on us.
Weirdo, witch.
I'm like, so when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, bruh, I just love calling a woman a witch.
Yeah.
When they're different.
So that was interesting. And yeah, they meet in the woods, and they're immediately just intrigued by each other. And she does.
It was a good meet cute. I did like it.
And they had this weird thing with their hands. She would do this to people, like put her thumb in between like their thumb, and she like kind of sensed how people were feeling by.
And she would get like
visions.
Visions, yes.
Yeah.
I will say the kind of witchiness of Agnes, or I'm just gonna say Agnes because I don't know how to pronounce her name. The witchiness of Agnes was never really explained.
No, it was.
I feel like they would try to, but yeah, I don't really know. Okay, why was she able to sense things? People, yeah. Like she was a healer, or she was just one with like the nature. She had to have her babies out there. Like I was just trying to figure out like why was she a woman of the forest, and like
and she used all these herbs and things for medicine and stuff.
And again, watching Outlander, that was something that the witches would do. They were like healers. So it's like something about a woman who like was a healer or like
with their potions
would make a potion, made her a witch.
Yeah, I think there could have been more development there. I was like, what is her deal? I don't understand her character. And like what makes her a witch, and why does she sense people and all that stuff.
But I liked that it was two outcasts finding community together. Yeah. Like both their families didn't really like them. Like Agnes had like an evil stepmother, and William had a bad relationship with his father, and they were both kind of looking for something. And then they found each other. And so I like in general how this movie kind of had like chapters. And it was like, okay, the meet cute, the beginning of the relationship and having kids, then it just like had interesting chapters.
Yes.
And I thought that flowed well.
Right. So
the way they broke it up.
Agnes gets pregnant.
Well, they're hand fast, which basically is just like being betrothed to each other.
Yes.
And Agnes gets pregnant, and the families are mad.
Very mad.
They don't want this to happen, but it's too late. The woman of the forest is marrying a tortured artist.
Yes. So they get married, and then they start having children, and then there's like a time jump. And so one thing I'll say about, critiquing the movie is that with the time jump, their kids were like massive, and Paul Mescal and Jessie Buckley look exactly the same.
They had like a little gray hair.
I saw no gray hair.
There was like...
I'm like, they looked exactly the same.
Little gray hair.
And they both looked like they were 28 the whole movie. And I'm just like,
I did see the little gray hairs, but I was like, you need to do more.
I know. I was
Yeah,
like, they
100%.
didn't change their hair. They didn't change the outfits. I was like, how are they supposed to be older? There was no sense, and they both looked like they were 30 years old the entire movie.
Yeah, I do think it's
Come on
interesting
now.
because you, of course, that's tough with time jumps. You want to see them young and then make them older. But again, not to keep bringing up Outlander, but Outlander also has time jumps, and I think they do a much like more intense makeup and hair. Like you need to see a gray streak.
Something.
You need to see them wearing like glasses or squinting or like
yeah,
put wrinkles on their face. Like you have to do like a bit more dramatic.
Yes,
I agree.
there was no change. Like
or at least cut the hair.
Yes, change the hairstyle. They didn't change the hair. Jessie Buckley had long hair to her butt the whole movie with the same braid. I was just like, no change.
Yeah,
it was. I thought that was weird. So now they like have 3 kids, and William is struggling in his career, and she's like, go to London. Go to London. He needs inspiration. He needs more money. He can get all that in London.
And one thing I'll say about them having kids is that she had a vision that she'd have 2 kids at her deathbed.
Yeah.
And so the fact that she has twins and now has 3 kids, she was confused. She's confused and thinks that something's wrong. Something's going to happen to Judith because she gets sick a lot.
Yeah.
So that's something that was interesting, like how the visions came into play. And of course, as the audience, knowing that and then kind of knowing, right, this is called Hamnet and it's about Hamlet, I was like nervous the whole time. Like the whole time I was going to be like, what's going to happen? How is this boy going to die? I was like, ugh. And it didn't, I got kind of Die My Love flashbacks when William Shakespeare left his family to go to London.
Yeah.
It was slightly different because it was Agnes's idea. It's like she knew her husband. I did think they have a good relationship. Like she knew him so well. She was like, you can't stay here. You need to cultivate your art in London.
Yeah.
So like clearly she knows him, but that's not good for her and the kids. No. Like every time he would leave, they would be devastated.
Yeah.
Like the last goodbye between William and Hamnet.
Yeah, that was sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah. So he leaves and the Hamnet and him have the final goodbye before Judith gets sick. And right, there was this theme of like, witchery. And Hamnet sees his sister ill and they're like lying right next to each other. And he's like, I see him, like kind of talking about death. And was like, take me, give it to me. I don't want her to suffer.
I'll go in your place. He was like, turn your head so he won't see you. They can't tell us apart. And it was like, ooh, really eerie.
Yeah, that was really eerie.
And like, that was, honestly, that was the saddest part because when William Shakespeare left, he tells Hamnet, his son, protect your mom, protect your sisters. And it felt like he was doing that in that moment and kind of sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
And that was just so sad. That's when I cried. I will say, coming into the movie, I had heard like, oh my gosh, it's sad, you're going to cry. And that's when I cried. Hamnet sacrificing himself for his sister Judith and dying and like seeing a little boy in pain and crying and like shaking and being like, mom. I was like, oh, like that was tough. And then seeing like him finally go and Jessie Buckley like screaming, I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was
sad.
Not
that was
fun.
Tough. It was really tough
to watch. What do you think happened? Do you think he was actually like casting a spell or like how that was so bizarre?
I think he had to have because his sister had been sick.
Yeah, for at least a day. That's what I was thinking.
He had no symptoms, no nothing. Spends one night next to her and then is deeply ill and she's
fine.
Better. Some kind of juju happened.
That was so strange.
And it doesn't make sense any other way.
No. So
and
it
was
weird.
Crazy because Jessie Buckley's like, I missed the signs. I wasn't looking at him. I wasn't paying attention. It was like, girl, you didn't need to pay attention. He was fine.
Yeah. He was.
Like, it was more like, something supernatural happened.
Bizarre. Yeah, and maybe they didn't. I'm like, I guess they could have explained, but it just was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, it felt like they couldn't. Like, I think that was something where we kind of just had to, like, believe it.
I know. So I guess I didn't really like how that just suddenly took a turn.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt very random and unlikely, but, movie. So then, yeah, that scene, I did not cry in this movie, But Shelby told me that, oh yeah, like it's a tearjerker, everyone cries. But that was really hard to watch. I was like so uncomfortable when the son was like screaming in pain and he died. Yeah, it was just rough. Not fun to watch at all.
And
gosh.
then you see Paul Mescal shows up. He sees Judith and is like, "Oh my gosh, you're okay!"
Right, because he was sent a letter like,
Yeah,
Judith's
that Judith's
ill.
ill.
You gotta come back home.
And then he sees a tiny body though, and he's like, "What?" And he finds out it's his son. Too much. That was a lot, but I thought he would have a more intense reaction. But clearly he was holding it in, and we find out that he uses writing Hamlet later on to grieve. But it felt like he kind of held it in and was trying to be there for Jessie Buckley, trying to be strong. That's what it felt like. He was trying to be strong.
Yeah, but you see that Jessie Buckley,
doesn't like that. She's like,
resents that.
You weren't here. Why are you saying everything's fine? And like, oh, I couldn't have done anything. You weren't here. How do you know? And it kind of puts a rift in their relationship.
Yes.
I mean, and you hear this, like a child's death or any kind of trauma like that does change dynamics. I can't even imagine. Like,
of course.
So it felt like their relationship was never the same. And she tells him to leave. And so he leaves. No, sorry. She doesn't tell him to leave. So he decides, he's like, hey, like the next day I need to go to London. And she's like, what?
I know, it was crazy.
She's like fighting him. And then she's like, fine, just leave. Fine.
We're better off without you.
And it's like really tense. And so he leaves. That was crazy. That was irresponsible. There's no way your son just died and you leave.
It's classic man running away from problems.
No way.
He was like, take care of the girls. I was like, how dare you when he said that? How dare you? Like, you can't be back for more than 24 hours to help your family grieve. Bye.
Irresponsible.
I know.
And selfish. So he goes back to London and decides to stop writing a comedy and write the tragedy called Hamlet.
Yes.
And while this is happening, Agnes and the family are just kind of struggling back at home. They're now on like a farm in Stratford, not at the family home anymore because, Shakespeare's making money, gets them a new home a bit closer. And Agnes doesn't really care. I mean, I wouldn't either. Poor thing. She's like struggling still with the death of her son. But the daughters are doing their best. They're like reading stories. They're trying to, get by. And Agnes's stepmom shows up one day. And it's like, well, I was in the neighborhood. I just want to check in on you. She was like, yeah, I heard about your husband's new play. Everyone's talking about it. She's like, he's writing a tragedy. And she was like, no, it's a comedy. She was like, oh no, it's a tragedy, but I'm sure you knew that, or something, kind of snarky comment. And then she hands her the flyer and she's like, well, yeah, I told you not to marry him. I'm like, oh my gosh, this stepmother is still the worst.
I know. It's like, how many years later?
Yeah, it's like, stop, leave her alone. Also, the stepmother didn't look different either.
This is what I'm saying.
That was a problem. Yeah, she literally looked the same.
It's been like at least 10 years,
right?
These kids are at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
And they look exactly the same from when the Shakespeares met in the woods for their meet cute. It's bizarre.
Very bizarre. But then, it's actually good that she shows up because then Agnes is like, he's writing a tragedy called Hamlet?
Yeah.
And it piques her interest, so she tells her brother, Joe Alwyn, we gotta go to London. We gotta see what's going on. And Joe Alwyn was good in the movie. Like, he didn't have that much of a role, but he's like the kind of supportive brother.
Yeah.
Kind of just
solid job.
Being there for his sister, which was good because she had her moments and needed that support from her family.
Right.
Glad that like she had that one kind of stable person. And so they go to London for the premiere of Hamlet. They try to see William before, but they don't. And that was interesting. We finally hear his name.
Yes.
It's not until we get to London. And they're like, who are you looking for?
We're looking for William Shakespeare.
Well, his family from Stratford. I was like, finally, we hear the name.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of fun, how you didn't hear it until the end.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Leo meme. Like, his name.
Yes.
And so the first time they see him is at the actual premiere of Hamlet.
Yes.
And you can see like Jessie Buckley's looking around. There's so many people. People are excited. Like, she's like, this is William? Like, she's kind of shocked.
Yeah.
And then she sees the play, there's like a father's ghost, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's Will. And she's talking, and people are like, shh, shh. So she's like reacting during the play. And then she sees the young boy playing Hamlet, who has like dyed
has little
blonde
blonde
hair,
curly hair, like her son,
and has the name Hamlet, which is from the Hamnet. And I think reminded her of the vision. Remember when she like read Hamnet's hand and was like, I see you on stage with your father working.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of gave me chills thinking back, because I was like, oh,
yeah,
it wasn't her son she was seeing, it was maybe this boy.
Yeah.
And so that was just, I thought the whole kind of stage scene and like the actual
that was the best part of the movie
of Hamlet was really good.
Yeah,
that was had like Jessie Buckley and Agony watching and curiosity, and then you saw Paul Mescal kind of watching and performing and being emotional, and you see that they're both grieving, and then you see the audience into it, and you see the actors doing their job. And if you're familiar with Hamlet, you're like, you remember things, and you're like, oh yeah, this and that. So it was just really powerful, and it was beautifully shot. I was like, I wondered where they filmed this.
Right. Yeah, I think this was the best part of the movie. Granted, I haven't read Hamlet since high school. I don't remember it.
I read it again in college because I took a Shakespeare class.
Yeah, I really don't remember it. So I felt like it was hard to follow, right? Like the language, right? Shakespearean language is already really difficult. And right, if you're not familiar with the story, I was like, I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But you can kind of get enough, like the point of the scene was like to see Anne Hathaway, Agnes, like, you know, first she was mad, like she was going through grief, like in the show.
She was like, why are you saying my son's name?
Like she was angry, she was upset, and then you see her kind of find peace at the end and closure. So I thought that was impactful. So I got what was happening, but I didn't understand what was happening on stage. I was like, who are these people? So you had to have some familiarity with Hamlet to understand what was happening in that scene. But I thought it was really beautifully shot. Because there's like all these people in the crowd, and they're like reacting, they're laughing, they're like the fight scene with the sword, they're like whoa, like cheering.
I know, they were so into it.
Yes, so I loved the interaction, seeing Jessie Buckley, like when she was at the front of the stage and her hands were on the stage, and you saw the people around her and the actors on stage. Like I thought those shots were really cool. But yeah, so that final stage scene was the best part of the movie. It was like the most interesting, the most entertaining, the most tension. So I thought that was really good. Even though I didn't really understand what was happening on stage, I still thought like the cinematography and the shots were really cool. Yes. And I also liked at the end where everyone's dying on stage, and like she like reaches out to Hamlet, and then everyone else in the audience starts reaching out. I thought that was really good. I was like, oh my gosh, like that was cool. And everyone's like crying in the audience, and you just like
feel the impact of the art.
Yes.
People like really feeling the story.
Yes. And she's like, you know, processing a lot of the feeling she has around her son's death. So like seeing all of that come together, I was like, okay, this is a satisfying ending.
It was a good conclusion.
Yes.
It was a really good conclusion. And like you, I felt like it was a good way to kind of tie a bow on the story.
Yes.
I do think it was interesting commentary, how like some people use art to kind of process and grieve and channel their emotions, because Shakespeare couldn't really react or handle the death of his son in the moment, but clearly channeled all of that to write Hamlet. And it was very impactful and one of his most famous, plays. So I thought that was really cool. Even though this is like a creative interpretation of events, it does make it seem very likely that he was inspired by Hamnet to write Hamlet, because like, first of all, those names are so close. And it is about the relationship of like a father and a son and an uncle and family. And, I feel like has a lot of elements of what he was going through himself.
For sure. So yeah, overall, Shelby, is Hamnet a wait or watch?
It was a watch. And we didn't mention this in the beginning, but we saw it for free.
Yes. We did see it.
We love a free movie. We heard about it through Focus Insiders.
Yes. Sign up for their listserv, people.
Yes. So saw it for free at the Grove during Thanksgiving weekend. We love that.
Yes.
So definitely recommend. But yeah, I mean, I guess even if you don't get to see it for free, I would see it. Because I do think it was I can see why people like it. It was one of the better movies that better dramas I've seen
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of them have been kind of weird, like Begonia, or lacking plot, like Die My Love. So
Yes.
I think Hamnet is better than both of those. I did think the movie was a little long.
It was long. It was long. It was
and
boring.
It's tough because it was like just over 2 hours, but it still felt a little long.
Yeah.
So my rule these days, I'm like, don't make dramas more than 2 hours. There's really no need because it's not as thrilling. So I think it could have been shorter. But I thought it was beautiful. I did. I thought it was beautifully shot. I thought the performances were great. I thought it was like a really creative take on Shakespeare, and part of that is the book, right? But I thought it was well executed, and I was like, at the end, I was like, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, I'm glad I saw it too. I think if you're an Oscars fan, right, see the movie because it'll probably be nominated for stuff. But I think it's a very specific film, right? If you're into Shakespeare, if you're into period pieces, if you are into sad tearjerker dramas, this is a movie for you. Those are not things I particularly enjoy.
I watch all of those
in a film.
So you heard me
in my
reference
content,
Outlander. So
right, I don't love period pieces. I don't love sad dramas. It's just not my thing. And I'm not really into Shakespeare. So for what it was, I thought it was a good movie, but I could not recommend this movie to everyone. It's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a watch if you're into those things, but if you don't want to watch like a sad period Shakespearean piece, like don't see the movie because you probably won't watch it. You won't like it. And it was long. I did find it a bit boring. And it was sad. I don't like watching like really, really sad things. But it did come together well, and I think compared to other dramas I've seen, it was definitely, quite well done. So I applaud it for that. And I remember you told me, Shelby, that a lot of people think Jessie Buckley is like a lock for Best Actress. What do you think?
Yes, people think she's a frontrunner. I mean, I thought she was really good. Yeah. And I think how you were describing how you felt during the theater scene, and you saw how her emotions ranged from the beginning of being mad to being like at peace at the end. Yes. I think it's a testament to her acting.
Absolutely.
Because that's a lot to show in, a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I do think she was really good. I thought Paul Mescal was really good. Mm-hmm. Like, I honestly thought the acting was top tier in this.
Yeah. I could see both of them getting nominated.
100%.
And I mean, I feel like Best Director, I could see that for her as well.
I think so.
Because that final play scene was like really magical.
It was like well directed.
Yes. So I could definitely see that. Cinematography, like the cinematography of that scene was great. So I could see that. Yeah, so on to our What to Watch segment. Is there anything else related to Hamnet that you're excited about, Shelby?
Well, of course, Oscar nominations and just awards season. Like, will this win anything? So that's to keep a pulse on people. Also, if you want more of Jessie Buckley, she's going to be in The Bride in a few months. Yes. It's Maggie Gyllenhaal's new movie. Again, I don't know why we need so many Frankenstein movies,
Bizarre.
But it is what it is. And she's playing kind of like the Bride of Frankenstein character compared to Christian Bale. So the trailer, she looks really good in it. So curious to see how she does in that.
Maybe she's on the rise.
Yes. And then Paul Mescal is going to be in Richard Linklater's new movie, Merrily We Roll Along. So that's something to look out for. And he also is going to be in the new Beatles movies. Have you heard about these Beatles movies?
Oh my gosh, yes.
How they're making Shelby,
this man
Beatles
is everywhere. This man is everywhere.
They're making four Beatles movies. Don't know why we need 4, one for each Beatle.
That is
but
so
he's
bizarre.
Playing Paul McCartney.
And Barry Keoghan's in it.
Yes.
And who are the other people?
Harris Dickinson from and Joseph Quinn. Harris Dickinson
the guy from Stranger Things. Yes.
Is Joseph Quinn. And then Harris Dickinson's the one from Triangle of Sadness. I couldn't think of it.
Right.
Like, and Baby Girl.
Baby Girl, yes. I mean, come on.
All the young white, British boys.
It's like the British Timothy Chalamet.
Literally. It makes sense. The casting makes so much sense.
I know. I'm just like, I don't know if I'll be watching all those movies because there's only so much I can take, guys. There's only so much.
I guess I like the Beatles, but I'm not like a fan. I don't know. It's like, yes, they have good music, but I'm not like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for their movies, No,
I don't want to see 4 Timothy Chalamets. Like, I can't take it. It's too much. So I saw this cast. I was like, guys, I cannot.
We have some time to prepare. They're coming out in 2028.
Oh my gosh. 4 movies is criminal. I'm not sitting through 4 Beatles movies. I'm so sorry.
Well, if I still have AMC Subs A-list,
I know in 2028, in 3 years.
You know, maybe I'll be there.
Gosh, yeah, so I won't be holding my breath. So, right, we talked about the Oscars, so we're excited about that. Who else do you think could be a run for Jessie Buckley's money and Best Actress?
The tough thing is, there aren't that many. Like, there's Cynthia Erivo, but she was not, like, Elphaba, her role as Elphaba was not as juicy or good as it was in Wicked. So
No.
I don't think she's competition, to be honest.
I don't think so.
I think she'll get nominated, but I think she should have won last year. Like, I thought she was really good as Elphaba. The first one, Singing Defying Gravity, like, the second one's not the same.
No.
People are saying Chase Infinity might be nominated for One Battle After Another.
That'd
of
be
course,
great.
Emma Stone, Begonia, Jennifer Lawrence,
I
Love.
can't see Emma Stone or Julie, or what's Jennifer Lawrence win again. I can't.
You're over them.
I mean, Emma Stone's won twice. Jennifer Lawrence has won already. They're both, perfectly fine Like, they're both very good actors. I just can't. I can't.
But the reason I say that is because a lot of other people are predicting. I'm like, I haven't seen these movies and it seems random. Like, Kate Hudson in Song Sung Blue.
I have not heard of that.
What's that movie? I don't know what that movie is. I will say Renate Rensby in Sentimental Value I thought she was good.
Again, like a subtle performance.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of random movies, like Amanda Seyfried's are probably in The Testament of Anne Lee, and Laura Dern's and Is This Thing On, Rose Byrne, and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You. All that to say, and then Tessa Thompson and Hedda. Some people have said Julia Roberts in After the Hunt.
Girl, bye.
Or Sydney Sweeney and Christie. Bye. So all that to say,
Dakota Johnson, Materialist.
Yeah,
please.
That's really low on the list. That's really low on the list. All that to say, it's kind of a weak year.
Yeah,
which
I know,
is
these
why
are the top 5.
I guess people
Jessie
are saying
Buckley's
it's Jessie Buckley to lose.
I guess
it's kind of weak.
That is pretty weak.
I know. It's wild.
Okay, well,
like out of all those people, I'm like, she was the best.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, well, we'll see. I don't know I don't think Paul Mescal will have. I feel like Best Actor is always like really
Best Supporting. That's why I said Best Supporting Actor is kind of brutal because you have Benicio del Toro and Sean Penn in One Battle After Another. You didn't see Frankenstein yet, but Jacob Elordi is really good in that. Like, people are saying Stellan Skarsgård and Sentimental Value, which we've talked about. I recently saw it.
It was okay.
Like, it's a subtle movie.
That's the thing. It's very subtle.
And then I haven't seen Jake Kelly yet, but people are saying Adam Sandler and Billy Crudup are really good in that.
Okay.
I still think Sinners could possibly get love with Delroy Lindo. Like, so I think this category is pretty stacked.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot. I doubt Jonathan Bailey would get in for Wicked for Good. Like, so this is a stat category, but I do think Paul Mescal will be nominated because he was really good.
Yeah, most likely. And plus, he's everyone's favorite man right now.
I can't.
It
boy. Might be Jacob Elordi, honestly. Feels like he's everywhere. That's someone that feels like is everywhere for me all of a sudden.
No, to me, it's like Timothée Chalamet, Jacob Elordi, Paul Mescal, and Pedro Pascal. I'm like, it's too much.
Jacob Elordi is like everywhere I look. Like,
stop! I can't. I need to stop seeing them on my TV screen. On my movie screen, it's too much.
Funny.
Oh gosh. Okay, so we'll be sat for the Oscars.
Yes, we will.
So that'll be interesting.
And the Beatles movies in 2028.
I cannot guarantee that. Okay, well, if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch, please make sure you're giving us 5 stars wherever you listen. Rate, download, subscribe. 5 stars, please. That'd be much appreciated. Follow us on social media at Sisters Who Watch. Yes. And buy our merch on our website, sisterswhowatch.com.
Yes, please. We appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the support. Y'all are the best.
And just hope you enjoy. Yes, stay watching.
Everything.